What would your life look like if you were locked in a hotel for the rest of your life? The best-selling novel, A Gentleman in Moscow, has been adapted into a limited series showcasing the complexities of Russia after the Bolshevik Revolution. It follows Russian Count Alexander Rostov, who was arrested by the new Soviet regime. The Count, played by none other than Emmy and Golden Globe award-winning actor Ewan McGregor, spared from death. He's put under house arrest in Moscow's Grand Hotel, where he's to live out the rest of his days. Let's take a look.
For the last 4 years, I have been a prisoner in suite 317 of the Metropole Hotel. It has a window at least. Just about fit on this bed. Ah, G-sharp, I believe.
And now let's welcome none other than Mr. Ewan McGregor. Thank you so much for coming by.
Thank you so much for having me, yeah.
So how do you prepare for something when it's historical fiction? You know, this type of person lived, this poised count, but we don't exactly know him. What kind of liberties do you take?
I don't think I take any liberties. I just take my lead from Amor Towles' novel. It's a beautiful, amazing book, and I was soaked into it and lived in it while I was reading it. I read it so slowly because I didn't want it to end, you know. The last quarter of it, I read a couple of pages a day. I just felt like he gave me everything I needed to know about the Count.
I imagine you feel rather barefaced now because what part of your preparation for a year, you had that really big, muscular mustache.
It was important not to have anything. This sense of freedom when you're acting is really important, I think. And there's something about a stuck-on moustache which is quite restrictive. You're worried that it's going to ping off all the time. So I grew my own, but it did mean wearing one in my own life for quite a long time.
And what did you learn about the Russian Revolution that perhaps surprised you as you were preparing for this role? I know that there's that one scene where the Count is just so upset because he sees that they've taken the labels off of, 100,000 wine bottles because that was contrary to the ideals of the Russian Revolution.
They didn't like the idea of elite. They thought it was elitist, the idea of one wine versus another. Well, I learned a lot by playing in the story. I feel like it's a very interesting backdrop. I don't know why Amor set his story then, but I'm glad he did. It's interesting. Putin hadn't invaded Ukraine when we started, when we mounted this project, but that happened while we were making it, and so it suddenly had a very sharper reality, or for us, I think, as we were making it. It became all the more important. And you know, you could look back to 1917 to think that Russia of today is sort of, I know Russia has an enormous history, but from that point changed so dramatically to lead us to where we are today. And there is a lot of brutality in our show that sadly we can still see to this very day, which is sad.
Yeah. What was it like to play your real life love interest, Anna, who's your real life wife?
Interest in life, It was beautiful, It's one of the most wonderful things in the world to get to act with my wife, Mary. I met her working with her on Fargo in season 3 of Fargo, and we had instantly a very instinctive way of working together. These huge, long, complicated scenes that would normally take an hour to sort of figure out, we would come on and just do, you know, without any much thought or anything. And that kind of instinct is only deepened by being in love with each other and being together as a married couple.
Is there any aspect of that that's a challenge because you want to still stay in character as the Count and she still wants to be Anna, right? But you know each other so differently, intimately.
It's funny. It's not. It doesn't feel like that when you're acting. You are the Count and she is Anna. I'm not looking at her as my wife playing Anna. I'm looking at Anna. That's how it feels when you're acting, or at least I hope it should.
May marks 25 years, if I can go out on a tangent here for a moment, since you first played Obi-Wan Kenobi in Star Wars Episode 1. I'm curious what it's like to revisit the same character throughout maybe even half of your life or over an extended period of time.
Yeah, interesting. I mean, I played him in 3 movies back in my youth, I suppose, amongst many, many others, you know. But it was my first instance of coming back to a role. I hadn't done that before. And I've done it a couple of times since, but then I came back to play him again a couple of years ago to do the series. And I really enjoyed it. I enjoyed playing him more, I think, now, because I'm that bit closer to who I always think of Obi-Wan as Alec Guinness. You know, I'm closer in age to him a bit. And so I found it easier to be like Alec Guinness when I'm doing it. Even when I was young, you know, in the first one, I didn't want to do an impersonation of him, but I wanted to sound a bit like him or feel a bit like him. And so now it's a bit easier to do that, I guess, because I'm older.
Do you have one that you're striving for, that you're thinking, that's what I would love to do?
I would love to incorporate music back into my work again. I was lucky to be in the musical Moulin Rouge in 1999, so quite some time ago. But I haven't done it for a while. I haven't done singing or musical work for a while, and I would love that. I love making music, so it would be nice to do that again.
Well, we love that you came by, Ewan McGregor.
Thank you
so much.
And we want to let our viewers know that you can watch A Gentleman in Moscow streaming on Paramount+.